Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have a couple of questions. Dr. Zurbuchen, NASA is increasingly leveraging novel ways to acquire science data such as database, hosted payloads, ride shares, and CubeSats. Can you speak to the progress that NASA has made on this front?
I really appreciate that question. We look at commercial opportunities like that as opportunities to get more science per dollar. That's the motivator for us. Instead of building a whole spacecraft, we can take data that a commercial entity might acquire for other market needs and make that data available to the public. We have, at this moment in time, besides the commercial lunar initiative we already talked about, a handful of other programs in play in which we're experimenting and learning about that. The most important of which, in my opinion, is the one focused on the data of our planet. We're in the middle of a year-long trial period. Frankly, what we're trying to learn is how to price into market what we should pay for data. And that's a really important thing, because on the one hand, we want to spend, of course, support our own U.S. companies. On the other hand, we also are deeply aware that we're spending taxpayers' money. So we're trying to figure out how to find that right price point. That's exactly what we're learning right now. There's other experiments just like it.
Okay, well said. Also, the budget request proposes launching the Europa Clipper on a commercial launch vehicle despite appropriations laws that require the mission to be launched on an SLS to decrease the transit time and maximize the science conducted around Europa. How will the mission science be impacted by this particular decision?
If we launch on a commercial launch vehicle that could currently be available, it would add between 3 to 5 years or so of transit time, depending on how we go there. That would have, of course, cost relative to the overall science team, because we don't want to fire every scientist and then somehow hope we can hire them back. Right. We need to keep essential teams there. It would, of course, require some resilience, and depending on where we fly by. For example, there's orbits where we would fly by Venus. Venus is a hot planet, so we have to do a different thermal design as we fly by there. So it's important to us to figure out which way we're going to go as we go forward. Of course, we will follow the law.
You bet. You know what? I've got one more I want to ask, if you don't mind. Dr. Sykes, sometimes missions are delivered under cost. In order to incentivize cost-effective development of principal investigator-led missions, should NASA, and this is to you as well, Dr. Zurbuchen, should NASA explore the possibility of allowing the principal investigator to use funding saved on development for research and analysis activities? If both of you guys would, you gentlemen, like to answer that.
I think that in the context of the cost cap missions, that we don't want people to be busting the budget by borrowing from Peter to pay Paul here.
Exactly.
And I think that, and we don't do accounting across many years on these missions. So I don't know if that would be workable.
Okay.
So generally speaking, even though we have not made it a policy, what we have done to incentivize people under running their budget is by enhancing, in some ways, sometimes one-to-one, their research program. So many of the researchers, frankly, what motivates them for a given mission, a PI class mission, is that they want to do science, that the mission is a path to the goal. The goal is the science. And so what we're trying to do is encourage them by basically not ripping away the money that they save, the government and all of us, but reinvesting that into a team. Because obviously we don't have just a good scientist. We already checked that. We also have a good leader. So we want to invest in those people.
Thank you.